Well, thank you all very much for coming out here today. I'm Brian Hurlbert. I'm the Commissioner of the Department of Agriculture. Very exciting time for the Department of Agriculture, given what we're here to celebrate today with the rollout of the hemp pilot program. Obviously, behind us, you see that it is going well. We're very excited and pleased by the legislation that was passed. We have a few of our champions here today, by our producers who have stepped into this so strongly, worked with the departments to make sure we have a real program, and by the governor who led this all the way almost a year ago, talking about hemp, the need for hemp as a way to support Connecticut agriculture, all the way through the legislative process, and then making this bill number 3 that got to his desk for signature into law, so that we at the department could launch a hemp program that farmers could take advantage of this growing season. So there's a lot to celebrate today. But first, we want to hear from our host, Dylan Williams, whose farm we are at, who worked closely with both the legislature and the departments through the course of this process, using his knowledge of hemp agriculture and the University of Connecticut's program to make sure that we could get this right. So, Dylan?
Woo! Thanks, Brian.
And his wife.
Introduce my wife as well. I just want to take the opportunity to thank everybody for coming. Welcome to Town Farm, Research Farm. We're the first hemp farm in Connecticut dedicated to research to develop sustainable growing practices and produce data to help us all figure out the best way to grow this plant leading up into the future. I wanted to thank a few people, Governor Lamont, Senator Austin, Senator Cohen, Representative Courtney, who was gracious in coming to the farm at the very beginning, Representative Conley, who made the visit to Town Farm, and many others for their tireless efforts to push this bill through in time for the growing season. It was really important that we were able to start getting our seeds in the ground in June, and it was really great that the Department of Agriculture, Commissioner Hurlbert and his staff made this all possible to get a good harvest in this season. So I just want to thank you guys all.
Thank you. Next, we have our other host, Senator Austin, who really started talking about this in December and January, saying we've got to get a working group together. We've got to start figuring out where we need to be and how we're going to get there as early as possible so that we can hit this growing season. So, Senator Austin.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming out today. This is one of the best places to be in the state of Connecticut, is here in the town of Ledyard. It's a very beautiful place, but it's also a good family-driven place, and it's where many early businesses in the state began here in Connecticut. I want to thank both Dylan and Amanda. That's important that they are taking, this is a leap of faith. This is not just a simple farming industry. The research that is behind this, the work that they're doing is going to allow this industry to blossom and become one of the leading industries in the state of Connecticut. There are over 52,000 products that can be made out of the different pieces of the hemp plant, from the roots all the way up to the flower at the top. This is something that will be a game changer for agriculture, an industry that has had its trials and tribulations over the last number of years. This beginning piece will allow us to figure out how we can grow our own seeds here in Connecticut so that we do not have to count on other states. It will allow us to start that manufacturing process. And this is something that, quite frankly, I've been working on for more than 4 years to try to get it through the legislature. And we wanted to make sure that it happened so that it would allow us to get into the growing season. Those are the things that in Connecticut we have to remember. When we do legislation, we want to make sure that we're in the growing season. When we do construction, we want to make sure that we're in the construction season. We don't want to start or finish a bill after the time has already passed. This is a very important piece. I want to thank Governor Lamont for his leadership in ensuring that the bill would get processed and signed and become law so that the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Consumer Protection could do what they needed to do. And I can't wait until we can put that plaque out front. The beginning of the hemp industry started here in Ledyard.
Thank you, Senator Austin. And our next speaker, Senator Christine Cohen, as co-chair of the Environment Committee, dove right in, started early, and then shepherded this through the Senate as one of the first bills, I think, that got out of the Senate very early, pushed her colleagues, worked with her colleagues to make sure that they understood the value of the proposal and what it would mean. I don't think anybody voted against the bill, and I think it was only about a 10-minute conversation, which is not very normal for the Senate. So, Senator Cohen.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I am thrilled to be here. I've been touring hemp farms across the state. Everybody's really catching on, very excited about this industry, as excited as we all are. So I'm so pleased to be here at Town Farm today and grateful that you've had us all in. You know, I was just saying, farming's such a great metaphor for sort of what we went through and process in order to get this legislation to come to fruition. It started as a seed long ago with Senator Austin and really fighting to get people to recognize after the 2014 federal farm bill was passed that this was something that Connecticut should be involved in this type of pilot program. Once the 2018 federal farm bill passed, and of course we're waiting on those regulations still, it was very evident that we needed to jump on board as a state. And because of Governor Lamont's leadership and willingness to get on board, we had so many people come to the table and work on this past legislative session. We had the Hemp Industry Association, UConn, the Connecticut Farm Bureau, so many folks, everybody at DCP, everybody at DOAG, everybody just putting their heads together and working really hard to get this done, to get this bill proposal written, and to make sure that we passed it early, which is where Governor Lamont came in, and his leadership was so very much appreciated. We knew we needed to get these seeds into the ground as early as possible to reap the benefits of a harvest this year, and we were able to get that done because of everybody's hard work and cooperation. And now we're hearing about all of the myriad of uses of this incredible cash crop for the state of Connecticut and beyond. And I'm so thrilled to hear that we may be able to have seeds come from this farm right here in Connecticut and then see the process go through processing, manufacturing, and have goods that are made from seed to end user product right here in the state of Connecticut. So it's a very exciting time, and I'm thrilled about this legislation. So thanks again, everybody.
And our final speaker will be Governor Lamont, and I just want to acknowledge his true leadership on this. We were in the hallway at the Capitol, I think it was in March, and we were passing each other, and he stopped and said, "Brian, is this hemp thing going to be real this year? We got to get that done for Connecticut's farmers." When the governor says we got to get it done, you make sure you get it done. So, Governor, we got it done. We're here to celebrate it. Thank you for your leadership and the opportunity to speak to everybody today.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah, Brian, we did get it done, and Dylan and Amanda, it was a long time coming. When I was campaigning, Kathy and Joe Courtney, every time I traveled, they'd bring up, when are you going to get this legalized? What's going on here? I mean, Courtney, oh my God, I said, if this congressional thing doesn't work out, you can be spokesperson for the commercial hemp industry. And you know why? Because it was important. And we had taken too long on this. And as I've traveled around the state, I talk about industries in transition. We were just at the El Grasso new technical school that's opening up. And, when it comes to digital media, a new industry, and fintech, a new industry. And that's true in farming as well. And what you see behind us here is going to be an amazing new agricultural industry. And Connecticut's going to take the lead because we're able to move fast on that. And, you're right, Brian. We got this done. It was the third bill we signed. I noticed you had e-licensing on there, so you could sign up same day, and we did it in time to get a real harvest going. And you know, I had a lot to learn about commercial hemp and what it means. You know, Annie was rubbing this stuff on her forehead to get to sleep. I was a little skeptical, but you know, Rob Gronkowski has got me a believer now that this is an amazing product that when it comes to pain mitigation in particular, and I love the Field of Tranquility hats we see here. There are some carefully regulated, really productive, important uses. I mean, Gronkowski just talked about, you know, he had 9 years of chronic pain and all the other things that folks do. And this is so much better than all the other things you can do for pain. It seems to work, and Connecticut's going to be an amazing leader here. And I'm just happy to be here. This is the first day. We got our harvest is about to come, first in the state of Connecticut, and it's Connecticut grown, Connecticut green. And I urge everybody to think about what we're doing here. I take it there's something like 82 other applications that came in near term. We have hundreds of acres right now under cultivation. What it means to you know, our well-being, and what it means to farmers, and what it means for Connecticut, I wouldn't be anywhere else today. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. And we have a number of great friends and supporters behind us, but we'll open it up to questions from the media, and we'll get the appropriate person to respond. Yes, sir.
Historically, it's like financial institutions have sort of stepped away from things like hemp, etc. What's the situation here? Are they on board, and are they helping, obviously, you know, the farming so like industry with, you know, the finance aspect side?
Yeah, there was a question early on as to where you could get a loan or who you could partner with. One of the things that we did through this process, though, was we included Farm Credit East, one of the largest agricultural lending institutions in the Northeast, as part of the working group, so that they were ingrained and part of the solution here. So they weren't going to have questions as to what it was. I've also reached out to the Connecticut Bankers Association to make sure that they know that this is an allowable and a legal product. So I had heard early on that there were challenges with lending institutions, but I've since heard that those have been cleared up and people have been able to bank freely.
Have you also been surprised how many farmers have actually signed up? The governor just said 82. I mean, there's even more, I understand, in the queue as well. Were you surprised at how quickly people jumped on board?
Yeah, it just showed the excitement that we needed to get this done. I had figured we'd have a couple dozen, maybe 30 acres when we started talking about this at the beginning of the year. So to have 82 applicants, almost 300 acres of licensed grow ready to go, really demonstrated that people were interested and willing. It also showed that we did a good job with the program. We made it very accessible. We made it easy for producers to get licensed. We did e-licensing so we could turn licenses around. We did a $50 application fee and a $50 per acre fee. So it was affordable for people to get into. This is an expensive crop. These plants are about $1 a seed when they start off. So the investment needed to be in the field, not in the department. And we worked people through it. So it really demonstrates what a great process from beginning to end we were able to put together for the program.
Are there other regulations that are impeding the hemp industry? And if so, what is being done to address any of those?
So I'll turn it over to the Department of Consumer Protection. They've been working with the FDA, and there's some federal rules and requirements that are still in the process that I think Commissioner Siegel would be better able to speak to. I hope she'll be able to speak to.
So with regard to hemp itself, there aren't as many issues there, but what there is still some uncertainty with how FDA is treating some of this extract, such as CBD oil that comes from hemp and ends up in food products and other things. And right now, FDA hasn't given, a clear pathway for how that can be treated just like any other ingredient in a food. And so really FDA, they've been holding hearings and giving a lot of thought to that, and hopefully that'll get cleared up relatively soon so that federal law can be in sync with what already a lot of states are allowing.
When do you hope that we might see the very first products made in Connecticut?
You could be, I would think, as early as this year. I mean, these guys can probably speak closer to it. They've got the products that are in the ground.
Yeah, so we are working with industry. We're I'm actually teaming up with my father-in-law, and we're doing drying and extraction. So we hope that we can provide services to farmers throughout the state to get their products dry, but then also put it into in our extraction facilities so that we can then move forward to make that finished product and turn it into wholesale and retail products as well.
Dylan, how has the farming community taken to this with you? Because I know that you're also helping various farmers around the state as well. So just tell us a little bit about how, what knowledge they're trying to glean from you so that they can obviously get a good crop.
Right, so we're trying to produce the knowledge right now here on Town Farm's Research Farm. A lot of that data will come out after harvest. But it's really been fun to work with farmers around the state. One farm specifically is the Bass Farm out in Windham. They're 12th generation farmers. And they're trying to introduce hemp onto their land, and we've been working with them side by side, where they're doing about 5 acres out there. They've been out of dairy production for about 15 years, and they think that they can bring economic viability to their farms once again with a new agricultural commodity. So we're really excited to work with farmers now and into the future.
Is this a good switch from organic vegetables?
It's been fun, right? So coming from a plant science background at UConn and having the opportunity to work with the plant science department, but specifically Dr. Berkowitz, who's kind of led the charge with hemp. It's a new crop where we can kind of do all that research and provide that new information to farmers across the state. So it's exciting coming right out of school, being able to work with a new crop and figuring out what works best in the Northeast.
What are some of the different kinds of data that you're collecting, and how do you think that will benefit other farmers in the state?
So we're starting simple. We're doing plant spacing, volume, yield. We're doing different pesticide applications, nutrient uptake from the plant. So all the kind of real basic beginner steps to understand what the plant needs to be most successful. I think the integrated pest management part, in terms of understanding the pesticide applications that work best with this plant, is going to be crucial to the development of hemp moving forward. And I think we've done a pretty good job with that, but we still have a lot to learn.
And how is the processing part? Oh, did you want to add to that?
Well, I know the governor's got a tight schedule, so if we could break up and we can answer questions that people have either on the way back or after you guys get some B-roll from here, we would be happy to do that. But I would just want to make sure we respect the governor's calendar. Oh, okay. Well, we have permission to take your last question.
Well, I was just going to ask about the processing part of this. How is that going? And are the startup costs higher than the growing, I guess, aspect of this?
Absolutely. Yeah, we really need people that are willing to invest. Really in the farmers, right? Because we're the ones that are growing the biomass that are going into the drying and extraction process, and we are starting to see that industry come into the state. It's going to start off first with CBD oil, because that's kind of the crave right now. But I do see hemp fiber that could be used in hempcrete and different fuels coming a little bit later as we grow in terms of acreage within the state. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.